They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Epstein, who may have some dealings with Diddy, he died in that plane. So they may have a good case, but it's still up to the prison system to decide where he go. The lawyer, and they don't care how much money you got.
And what's the frustration is why y'all didn't say nothing about it. That's what my point was. How is nobody saying nothing about it? Like, this the girls, they know that it was a girl. He said he married a 15-year-old, and everybody at that point, until it became common, or like it became the end thing to do, wasn't nobody disrespecting R. Kelly. Everybody was still going to his shows. Until it became popular opinion, people weren't looking the other way. So what I was disappointed in every fan that didn't care that this dude was a little girl. And actually, tried to, you can't sugarcoat it. You cannot marry a 15-year-old, period, in America. You know what I'm saying? But she died in the plane crash. It ain't no conspiracy there. Yeah. There is no conspiracy. The problem was, and again, a lot of things happen behind the scenes.
Some stories in music history never really fade away. They resurface again and again through interviews, old photos, and accounts from people who say they were present when events unfolded. One recurring narrative involves three major figures in the industry: Michael Jackson, Aaliyah, and Jay's. Over the years, individuals connected to the music business have suggested that Michael Jackson was particularly protective of younger artists, with some insiders claiming he offered guidance or warnings to singers navigating fame and the influence of powerful industry circles. More recently, former industry insider Gene Deal and singer Jaguar Wright have reignited discussion by repeating claims that Michael Jackson may have looked out for Aaliyah during a period when she was surrounded by influential figures in the business. It's important to note that much of this remains based on personal accounts and opinion rather than verified fact. Still, these stories continue to circulate because they tie into a broader conversation about what happens behind the scenes in the music industry and how artists are guided or protected within it.
Who's the most iconic person to you that's ever worn your clothes? That's made you feel like, that's dope.
Can I give you three?
You can get, I would love three.
Okay. Give you four, I'll give you three.
You can give me four.
Okay, Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Aaliyah.
Awesome.
Biggie, Tupac.
Man, that's so dope.
I think, and what's crazy, when each moment happened, I didn't realize how big of a moment this was when they wore the clothes, you know what I'm saying, when these things happen. But again, once you live in the moment and accept the energy, things that's happening your way, you got to be there to accept that moment. And we did each time. And that's why the brand is where it is today.
So when did Michael Jackson wear Karl Kani?
Yeah, that was cool. It's actually, it was on the front cover of Vibe magazine. So Kadada, Quincy Jones' daughter, she styled the shoot. She's the one who, she said Michael wanted to be hip again. So they got Michael to wear urban wear for the first time ever. So he wore Karl Kani, Tommy Hilfiger, and Diesel in the ad layout in Vibe magazine. So him and Quincy and Kadada, all three had it on in the Vibe magazine special magazine that came out that issue that came out that year.
Wow, yeah. That just sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like Aaliyah was always iconic. Like, I mean, look at me, look what I got. Like she had such an influence. Mm-hmm. And Biggie would rap about wearing dope.
Yeah, Biggie mentioned, he's the first one to actually mention my name in his songs. You know, when Biggie mentioned Karl Kani in his songs, I was like, wow, this is real. Like, I didn't realize the impact the brand was having on the streets back then. You know, back then there was no social media. Yeah. So you got to kind of like, music and magazines told you the impact you were having. So Biggie to mention my name in his songs, he could have mentioned any other brand, but it was just, that's what he wore. You know what I mean? Because we took care of the big man in clothing. We were the first brand to actually go up to size 60 and give big guys fashionable clothing to wear, which is one of the things that we wanted to do.
And allow them to start acting a fool.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I know it was something when I saw white kids wearing Karl Kani, I was like, oh, he hit it. Like,
absolutely.
This is in the suburbs now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how does that feel to know that everybody wants to wear your clothes?
You know, again, I give all homage to hip hop music, to be honest with you, because, you know, that was like the foundation. Like, as hip hop music grew, our brand grew, right? Because when we first started, no other clothing brand or designers wanted to embrace hip hop artists. Because first of all, no one thought it was gonna last.
Yep.
They also felt like if I start putting hip hop artists in these clothing, my original customer may not want to buy my clothing anymore. It's not until hip hop started to blow up, they didn't care anymore. They knew they'll miss out on a big segment of where the youth is going now. So they had to embrace themselves in hip hop to stay in business, to get young men to start wearing their clothing and things like that. In terms of white kids wearing, it's like they follow what's cool. You know what I'm saying? And our biggest market in Europe, I mean, think about Italy and Germany, is all white kids out there wearing it. But again, it was through the hip hop influence that started that whole movement in terms of fashion. And I remember I was just in Italy 2 weeks ago. One of his most popular rappers in Italy, he was telling me like how he's faced a lot of racism back in the days when he wore Karl Kani in the 90s. I was like, what do you mean? He said, oh man, like people like saying, why are you wearing those black people clothing? Why are you wearing this? Why are you wearing that? So we got the most rebellious kids out there switching to wear the brand. So we got all the street kids out there and realize that they're the ones who really those influencing people in fashion. So those are the right kids that you want to wear in your clothing.
To understand why some people believe Michael Jackson may have tried to protect Aaliyah, they often point to the way he was perceived behind the scenes. Many artists who worked with him described him as someone who cared deeply about younger performers entering the industry. Having grown up in the spotlight himself as part of the Jackson 5, he often spoke about the challenges and pressures that come with fame at a young age. Because of those experiences, Jackson was known by some as someone who would quietly offer advice to emerging artists, helping them navigate contracts, executives, and the complexities of the entertainment world. According to certain accounts, he also warned performers about being cautious around individuals whose intentions might not always be clear. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, Aaliyah was rising as one of the most prominent young stars in music. Her distinctive sound, style, and presence made her a major figure in both R&B and pop culture, while she also moved within influential industry circles that included producers, executives, and other artists. It is within this context that some insiders, including Gene Deal and Jaguar Wright, have suggested Jackson may have been aware of the pressures surrounding her at the time. They claim he may have attempted to offer guidance, although the specifics remain uncertain and are largely based on personal accounts rather than verified evidence.
So like with people and the way they act, when I see people that are bitter now, that are just like are hurt for no reason or want to hurt people, I attribute it to something that happened to them when they couldn't protect themselves. Because I never got it, luckily. I never was traumatized when I couldn't defend myself. I was protected very well. I don't know who I would be if I got violated when I couldn't fight back. You know, I'm lucky enough to be untraumatized other than the things that other people are traumatized about, like death. Like I lost my mother at 16, but no one ever violated me. You know, I'm not mad at nobody. I don't feel like I have to get revenge. You know, I do want revenge for Aaliyah's death. I just don't know who to get.
Right.
And I was crying the other day about that, you know, but I don't know what the happened, man. It's just getting weirder and weirder. But I just feel like if somebody really did that, then someone deserves someone should avenge her.
Gotcha.
You know, it's a lot. That's what I'm saying. Everything that happens with this conspiracy, I gotta know them. I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather be in the crowd and be like, I wonder if this is real or not. Like now I remember all these years they were saying I was in the Illuminati and what the are you talking about? I don't have no money. Like, you know what I'm saying? I should have a lot more money. I'd have a lot more help. I don't have no brothers helping me. But now I'm like, oh, they might have really been in the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it's inevitable now. It just, you know, it seems like the Europeans needed to, because what I'm understanding, you know, there was a war to keep the British out of America. So the only way they could get in America would be through someone that's American.
Right.
So it looks like they funded the Carnegie dude. He got his money from Europe. And I don't even believe the Rockefellers was like that even now. I don't even know if Mark Zuckerberg is like that. Anyone aggregating data, I'm like, you might work for the government. Someone just put you up there. If I can't figure it out, if I'm not like impressed with your logic when I speak to you, because again, there would be certain people that are locked up now, and I'd be talking to them, and I'd be like, there's no business acumen. They don't even understand what's going on. How the do they keep getting these deals? Where are they getting this money from?
Like, I just be seeing people else money, and I just like, well, it just, I know what you make. I know what you got to spend. I know about margins. I'm like, I don't know how you getting this kind of bread. So from now on, if I can't figure it out, you just pop up and you the Great Gatsby for no reason. You a spy. You know what I'm saying? Period. You either with Russia, Mossad, or, you know, the government, CIA. But that's the way you get people. You with their vices. You get them drunk, high, and then you make, and it seems like they get you on camera, and then they blackmail you. And then you got to go against your friends. I don't think they want to. I think they got caught up.
So when you think that some people got caught up, like when you hear like, you know, some of your former friends like Pusha T.
I can't even comprehend that.
And Jay-Z.
Honestly, even with him,
they're mentioning these files.
I just want to know why. Put it like this. Let's say they didn't do anything and someone's lining them up. Like, if let's say someone put me in them files right now, I know I never did no like that, but I'd be like, oh, they trying to line me up. I'd be more worried about the play because this shit seems deep.
Right.
Like, now I'm starting to rewatch the documentaries. I watched that Epstein. I'm like, yo, this nigga was doing whatever he wanted. He might really be alive. Just the way the way no one's getting prosecuted and how he got that bid and how that was
but even to his death,
it's just a lot of it's a lot of people that have vices.
But even to his death,
like I'm like anybody that's cool must like young girls. Because for me, I don't respect people that would violate women.
Right.
That's why I walked away. I don't want no parts. I don't want $1 of anyone that's with little girls. And if you notice, I don't make $1. I made sure.
No, I remember when you talked about the R. Kelly situation.
In all of it.
Yeah, you was like, I don't want no money from it. Nothing.
So why you think I was all right with going to auction?
And you said that before the files came out, before everything.
By the year 2000, Aaliyah was no longer just an emerging artist. She had become a major international star with successful albums, film roles, and a rapidly growing global fan base. With that level of success also came her connections to influential figures in the music industry, including individuals associated with Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs. Photos from that period still occasionally resurface online, showing various artists and executives interacting at industry events and private gatherings. One set of images that recently went viral was taken at a 4th of July party in the Hamptons around 2000. The event reportedly brought together several well-known celebrities in a casual, social setting. According to Rockefeller co-founder Dame Dash, that party was also one of the first times he and Aaliyah spent time together. He later said in an Instagram live discussion that many people were present and nothing out of the ordinary took place. Even so, the reappearance of these photos has sparked renewed online conversations about how interconnected many figures in the music industry were during that era.
When I first met her, she was like a kid to me, so I never paid her no mind. And I seen her like a basketball game once, and it's like, what up? But I didn't. She was a kid. So like, I wasn't listening. I wasn't like listening to her music like that or any of that. I kind of met her as like, I didn't even know it was Aaliyah when I saw her. I was like, who the fuck is that? She just looked mad good. That you know that picture that everybody puts up, and it's like a Puff's party, and we're all on the bed and all that other pause. But like the big pictures, that's the night that we made it happen. So that's where I left, and that's where my life changed dramatically. Yeah. That day, that's when it happened. I was, like I said, me and homeboy was both getting at her. It was like one of us is gonna win, and I won.
So Jay, he was trying to get at it too.
Yeah, everybody knows that. He was going hard. It was Aaliyah. Everybody was going at Aaliyah. That's why it hurt so much when I was the one that got to get with her. But I wasn't even thinking I was gonna fall in love. But she just was too ill, too cool.
Was he feeling the type of way when you made it official with her?
Yeah, but I don't want to do that to him, bro. Obviously, you see what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would say so. His friends get with him.
Right. So what I do want to ask you about Aaliyah, what was the situation with Hype Williams where, he took her plane and she had to take the plane that he was using? Like, what happened with that?
No. She was in Miami and the video was supposed to be in Miami. And I had told her, I was like, Hype does this thing where he'll act like he needs more days just so he can get paid more. And don't let him do that. And then, all of a sudden she comes back and was like, he wants to go to the Bahamas. I was like, I told you he was going to do that. And what I had heard was that, what I was told was she was supposed to be on Lenny Kravitz's jet, but like he offered it to her. And you could ask Lenny Kravitz, I guess. And Hype took it and had her on that plane. But he had it like pattern, like when we did Big Pimpin', like we're in hotels and he's in a house with a chef. He's throwing dinners on our dime. And I'm like, well, why are we in a hotel and this nigga got his own house with a chef and we're paying for it? And that's why I cut Big Pimpin'. So I was like, I knew his tricks on what he used to do and how he used to play the labels. So I cut the video, like, we going back to Miami. So I knew that he was going to try that same play with her, and he did. And then, if utilized for him as far as making, himself more comfortable than the artist on the artist's dime, I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty up, man.
Yeah, it is. Somebody should ask him about it.
Yeah, they should. I mean, she'll still be here. If she was on the plane she was supposed to be on.
I said a lot of things years ago, and they all realized themselves later. But the things that I found appalling for some reason 10 years ago, no one found them appalling when they were happening. It took for everyone to get busted for people to find it appalling. But no one ever says when they don't have to, because nobody really gives a... I've seen that firsthand. But once it becomes popular opinion, that's when everybody's appalled. That's when they pay attention. That's when Dame was right again. But wrong in the moment, overreacting in the moment, but 10 years later, I was dead right. It's, again, another behavior pattern, a human trait that I don't even judge people for anymore.
To some observers, these gatherings were simply part of normal celebrity networking. For others, however, they highlighted the powerful social circles that young artists often had to navigate. It's within this broader environment that some speculate Michael Jackson may have felt uneasy, given his own experiences and awareness of how complex the industry could be. More recently, former bodyguard Jane Deal, who once worked closely with Sean Diddy Combs, has added to these ongoing conversations. In various interviews over the years, Deal has publicly discussed what he says he observed during his time around the music industry.
Epstein, who may have some dealings with Diddy, he died in that place. So they may have a good case, but it's still up to the prison system to decide where he go. And the lawyer, and they don't care how much money you got, but it's based on the lawyer. So that's why if you ever you seen online recently, people coming out, they getting ex-COs or wardens or detectives to speak out and say how dangerous Brooklyn MDC is. That's their lawyers them paying people to come out and talk about that, so to try to help persuade the courts, which is the part of the prison system, to see what they're gonna do, would they do anything to say, yo, listen here, man, this guy's life might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac. People think he has something to do with Biggie, and they right here in Brooklyn. You understand? It's right here in Brooklyn, and some of the people are still mad that he made making it a band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So, Junior's. So it might be some dump. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bull. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got from them correction officers. Because if they don't and they get caught giving him preferential treatment, they're going to lose their job.
So you feel like Pac fans will try to do something to him?
Pac and Biggie fans. He can have issues with both of them because a lot of people think, because of the statement that Keefe D made, that he did something to Pac. A lot of people know or think that because of Biggie leaving, they finding out that Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, that he may have had something to do with Biggie. People feel that way. You hear it all the time. You see it all the time on the chats and all that stuff.
Have you heard the reports about Diddy being worried about his kids?
Bro, he get phone conversation. He get a phone call just like everybody else. And now they got all kinds of things where you got guys got iPads, guys got telephones, iPads, and all that in prison. So his kids are well taken care of. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't worrying about those kids before he got locked up. Not like that. Maybe with the baby, but the other girls, they seem like they fine. Quincy seemed like he's doing a good job in making sure that those girls are being taken care of. And the rest of everybody else is grown. Or they young adults. So that's just a ploy, bruh. All that's a ploy to, try to change the circumstances in this situation. But they won't change. His circumstances and situation as far as the correctional facility and where he's being housed at is not going to change until the courts tell him to change it. So all these things that the lawyers is putting up, all these things that the lawyers is saying, it ain't going to do him no good, bro. It's not going to do him no good until the courts and his lawyers come in with some good briefs and say, yo, listen here, our client should be released because he did this. If it's 3 months from now and Diddy has to go to, he's been in jail and then he has to go for another bail hearing, you better hope that he been in a drug program while he was in jail, he cleaned. You understand what I'm saying? He did something to show the judge that he's different from the first day he walked in.
In some of these discussions, he has suggested that influential figures in the entertainment world often operate within close-knit circles where business, relationships, and power frequently intersect. According to Deal, younger artists can sometimes enter these environments without fully grasping the complexity of the dynamics involved. While reflecting on various industry stories, he also spoke about the respect many artists held for Michael Jackson. As a global icon who experienced the pressures of fame from a young age, Jackson was often seen as someone deeply aware of its challenges. Deal has suggested that Jackson sometimes took an interest in looking out for younger performers who were still adjusting to the demands of the industry. Some listeners have interpreted these remarks as implying that Jackson may have had concerns about certain situations involving Aaliyah. However, it's important to emphasize that these interpretations are based largely on personal opinions and commentary rather than verified evidence. Even so, Deal's interviews have contributed to ongoing conversations about Michael Jackson's reputation for being protective of younger artists entering high-pressure entertainment spaces. Another figure who has kept similar discussions in the public eye is Jaguar Wright. In recent years, she has become known for making outspoken claims about the music industry and the influential people within it. Through various interviews and online appearances, she has shared her perspective on what she believes are the less visible dynamics operating behind the scenes.
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
Guess they're on vacation.
if this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think that the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Porter?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claimed that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Michael Jackson was one of those figures. She believes he had a deep awareness of how the industry functioned and the pressures young performers faced. In one discussion, Wright suggested that Jackson may have been concerned about the environment surrounding Aaliyah as she built her career. She frames these ideas within a broader belief that some artists attempted to protect others from the more difficult or exploitative sides of fame. However, her comments remain controversial and are widely debated. While some people see her statements as revealing hidden truths, others argue that they are not supported by solid evidence. Regardless of interpretation, Wright's interviews have contributed to renewed conversations about how established artists like Michael Jackson related to younger performers during the height of their careers. Despite ongoing speculation around various figures, Michael Jackson's public interactions with Jay-Z's were also marked by positive and memorable moments. In the early 2000s, they were seen together at major industry events and even crossed paths in creative settings. One of the most well-known moments occurred during the 2001 Hot 97 Summer Jam concert in New York. While Jay-Z was headlining the show, Michael Jackson made a surprise appearance on stage, creating a standout moment that remains widely remembered by fans.
My favorite album is, I would say, Off the Wall, because I've been listening to it now. I got a couple favorites. Very difficult to say your favorite album, but you know, Off the Wall was one of those albums that were timeless, that didn't have a genre. It didn't have it was colorless. It was ageless. Like me and my mom listened to it. I listened to it. It was just like one of those things that the whole family, listened to. I think it was a perfect album. I think Thriller, although it was the biggest album, had huge records, but these records that were on Off the Wall was so timeless and, emotional. And I'm about to get the buzzer like I'm at the Grammy.
The two artists also had a musical connection. Jay's appeared on the remix of Michael Jackson's song ** You Rock My World **, and according to longtime Rockefeller producer Just Blaze, Jackson was also said to have offered creative input on a remix of Jay-Z's track * Girls, Girls, Girls. These collaborations suggested that, at least publicly, their relationship was cordial and based on mutual respect. As a result, more dramatic claims about tension between them are difficult to confirm or verify. Still, fans often note that the music industry is complex and public appearances don't always reveal the full extent of behind-the-scenes dynamics. More than 2 decades later, Aaliyah's legacy continues to hold a significant place in music history. Her tragic passing in 2001 left many wondering what direction her career might have taken had she lived. Because of this, any resurfaced photos or new interviews tend to reignite discussion about the people around her during her rise to fame. When figures like Gene Deal or Jaguar Wright share their perspectives, those conversations often gain traction quickly across online platforms.
It was just me and her. Like during that time, here's what the issue was. We all was, like a family. Missy, Timberland, her, myself, Magoo, Player, Tweet, all of us.
I love how you keep naming all of them.
I love that.
I love that.
I got to.
I love that loyalty.
I got to give them. That's the lawyers hear me.
I respect that.
But her and I weren't seeing eye to eye. You know what I mean? And I think it had a lot more to do with her loyalty to her uncle. Then it had to do,
Who you were beefing with at the time, or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, cool.
With her uncle, Barry Hankerson, as he was the record head, and he was the company was my manager. I just decided to leave because of whatever reason. You know what I mean? And so, of course, her loyalty is to her family. And so, that's where it pretty much stemmed from. We ain't had no beef or nothing. There's a woman. I ain't beefing with no girl. You know what I mean? But it was just one of those things where our time had separated, you know? And so I always wanted to make sure that we were cool. But, I never got a chance and an opportunity, to explain whatever it was, because things that was happening, I'm pretty sure she was just being told whatever it was, the narrative of whatever it was with me. But it was a lot behind that. And I think at the end of the day, she understood. But Missy came and she told me one time she had a dream that Aaliyah said, "Don't worry about it, she forgive me." And I cried.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Take a shot for that.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yep.
Going to get the shot.
Rest in peace, Aaliyah.
Yep.
Woo! What do you think Aaliyah would be if she was still alive? In this day and time,
I would want her to be on the level where B is.
Talking about
Beyonce, yeah. But you just never know. I know that she was headed toward that direction. Like, she was doing the movies, she was doing, of course, she was doing music, she was dancing and all that. So, we just will never know, and that's the bad thing.
The involvement of major figures like Michael Jackson and Jay-Z naturally draws even more attention to these discussions. Fans remain interested in how such influential artists may have interacted during a period when hip-hop and R&B were rapidly reshaping global music culture. At the same time, it's important to distinguish between verified history and speculation. Many of the claims circulating today are based on personal opinions, retrospective interpretations, or accounts shared years after the events took place. Even so, these conversations point to something widely acknowledged about the entertainment industry. Beyond the public image and glamour, there are often complex relationships, influential networks, and dynamics that are not always visible to audiences. Looking back, it's clear that the music industry has long been shaped by powerful personalities and intricate connections. Artists like Michael Jackson, Aaliyah, and Jay-Z each played significant roles in defining modern music and culture. Claims from figures such as Gene Deal and Jaguar Wright have reignited discussion about what may have been happening behind the scenes during that era. Some believe Michael Jackson's interactions with younger artists reflected a desire to guide and protect them, shaped by his own experiences in the spotlight. Others view these narratives as interpretations that have evolved over time. What remains undisputed is Aaliyah's lasting legacy. Even decades after her passing in 2001, her influence continues to inspire new generations of artists, and her music still resonates strongly with fans around the world. Ultimately, many of these industry stories may never be fully verified, but the ongoing discussions reflect a continued interest in understanding the realities behind fame and the pressures artists face. The question people continue to debate is whether Michael Jackson was simply offering guidance, or if he may have been aware of deeper concerns surrounding Aaliyah's environment.